Hi, Clemens. Hi, Hamid. So I think we can begin now. Hi, everyone. I'm your host, Johnson from the International Office at Jönköping University. Before we begin, some practical information. This session will be recorded, and later we will put a copy of this feed onto our JU web in the next few days. Kindly ask your questions at the Q&A function on the Zoom, not on the chat function. We will answer all of the questions at the end of this webinar. Today, we'll discuss and gain inside information on our application process. Before I invite my guest from admissions office to speak on the topic, I would like to give you a quick overview of Jönköping University and some interesting highlights. So Jönköping University is a modern university that thrives in a changing world and combines academic tradition and engagement. And strongly embedded in the region with the international body of students and faculty. Our campus connects innovative and creative minds from across the globe. We have become world-renowned in a number of research areas related to educational programs. We have secured double accreditation by EQUIS and AACSB, and we are now also ranked as one of the top world 100 highest rated business schools in the world when it comes to master's in management programs as per Financial Times. We are very happy for that. We collaborate with business community nationally and internationally. We have some international campuses as well, where our students go and do their internships. And students receive an education that is adapted to the needs of the market. Therefore, our education not only include technical knowledge, but also knowledge for entrepreneurship, leadership, sustainable communication, sustainable development, and the opportunity to make international contacts during the study period. There's even an opportunity to start your own enterprise at our renowned business incubator Science Park while you being a student at Jönköping University. So our students are sought after both nationally and internationally, and many have found work even before graduating. So our curriculum supports multicultural experience. Our students are prepared for international career, definitely. There is clearly a window of opportunity here for you to get a first-rate education, new experiences, and an opportunity to grow as our application are open for 2022. So let's begin by finally welcoming Charlotte Carlson, an expert from the admissions department, to speak about how to apply for autumn 2022. Welcome, Charlotte.
Thank you, Josim, and thank you to all the participants who have logged on to watch this webinar and to perhaps get some answers to questions that you have. I'm going to go through a presentation about how to apply. So if you hold off with your questions until towards the end of the presentation, you might actually already have received the answer to questions that you have, but I'm going to try to give you as much information in a short space of time that I can. And so I am going to share my screen. Okay.
Perfect.
So we're going to talk about how to apply to Jönköping University. Some things to remember when you're applying. And we're going to go to the next slide. I'm just going to see if I can. I want to make sure that you see the whole page. So for admissions, we have a website with a shorter address at ju.se/en/admissions. That gets you straight to the page where we have our frequently asked questions, our admissions guides for undergraduate, bachelor programs, and our master programs. for our direct application, information about our pathway admissions, and about tuition fees, application fees, residence permit requirements, and English language requirements, as well as information about scholarships. So this is a good place to start. Just a little reminder that you should prepare your documents ahead of time. Make sure that you have scanned your passport, that you have a letter of motivation, and your proof of English, however you're going to show that. And then, depending on what you're applying for, your high school documents or your academic bachelor documents, there we have specific country requirements that you should try to check out to make sure that you submit the right documents the right way. Any documents that you scan should be in color if the original document is in color as well. Every part of the page should be visible and easy to read. It's very hard to read something that is that looks like you're looking through a fog to read it. So check your documents before you upload them, please. That helps us a lot. Proof of English can be several things. For some, you get it through high school studies or university studies, or you are taking an English test. Some of those tests, the results should be made available to Jönköping University, but that information can be found on that English requirement page that we have on our admissions website. And we're going to look at the site soon. So we're just going to go through some quick information first. There are two ways to apply to Jönköping University. We have a direct application, also called our local application. That means you apply through our own website directly to us, and we are the only ones looking at your application. And you do that through the admissions website on our own website, ju.se. Find a program you're interested in, read the facts and the requirements there. And if you have questions, there's a way to contact us to ask about certain requirements if you're unsure what it means. Then you click on the How to Apply button on that program page, or if you already know exactly what programs you want to apply for, you can go straight through to ju.se/en/admissions and just go through those pages there. So we have the undergraduate and master's application guides, and that they are step-by-step guides. So just follow the steps there, and you should do okay. You can apply to 2 programs, either 2 master's or 2 bachelor programs. And this application, it's open now. It opened on October 18th, and it's open until May 2nd, as long as there are still places available. If you are not a citizen of an EU country or Switzerland or one of the economic area special EEA, I think, you need to pay the application fee, which is 900 Swedish kroner. That's about 10 euros or 10 US dollars. 100 sorry. 900 Swedish kroner is about 100 euro or US dollars. And submit your documents as soon as possible. Now, this direct application has a so-called running admission. That means that any application where everything is complete, all the documents are there, we have been able to go through everything, the applicant is eligible, and if they've gone through an interview process, basically they can be admitted at whatever point. So there's no set date for admission results. It happens on a regular basis, and it will start, even EU students, we have admitted a few already. And so for fee-paying students, we have also an interview process for most of our programs, not all. But if there is an interview, part of that process for the application for the program you're interested in, you will be called. You will get a date for an interview. So that's not something that you need to keep track of yourself. Just make sure that you check the email, which is where we're gonna send the invitation for the interview for. Now that's our local application, and that's what we're gonna look at closer in just a little bit. I'm also gonna tell you about, it's possible to apply to us through universityadmissions.se. That is a portal for most of the universities in Sweden. So it's gathered in one place. There you can search to find programs that you are interested in, and you apply there. Again, read the facts and requirements that are available to you there. In universityadmissions.se, you can apply to up to 4 master programs or 8 bachelor programs in one application. This application system opened on October 18th, the same as the local one, but it has a deadline to apply on time on January 15. So this is a little bit different. It's not open as long. Same thing there, pay the application fee if you are required to do so. Another difference is that the deadline to submit documents on time is February 1st. So anything that you upload or submit after February 1st, that will make the application a late application, and late application might not be processed. I mean, if we have time to process them, we will. But in university admissions, both the staff at university admissions in Stockholm is doing they're doing the initial checking of documents, and then the universities check for the special specific entry requirements once the first check has been done. So that's why they do have a shorter application period. So that one closes on January 15th for anything on time, and documents on February 1st. In that system also, everyone will get their results at the same time. So anyone who applied for masters will get the results on April 7th. Anyone, those applying to bachelors, will get their results on April 13th. So those are the 2 ways to apply to Jönköping University. And the only difference is that the local application is directly to JU, us. No one else is looking at the documents. We are looking at the documents. The running admissions, the fact that we don't have a set date. So the admission happens continuously until end of May, sometimes even early June. University admissions, it's one portal for pretty much all universities in Sweden. So that's where you can apply to several universities in Sweden, similar programs at similar master programs at 4 different universities, or bachelor programs at 8 different universities. And everyone gets the results at the same time. So April 7th for the masters, 13th for the bachelors. Jönköping University, we will never give any information before these dates. So those are the differences. We look at the documents the same way. We follow the same guidelines set by the Swedish Council for Higher Education when it comes to how to evaluate foreign high schools or foreign universities. So the only difference is where you make your application, and the fact that one is a running admission and one is you have a set date. And also the how long the applications are open. The local application, there, in fact, some programs could be filled up before the deadline of May 2nd. So there's a risk, which means you should apply as soon as possible in the local application. And university admissions, basically after January 15th, all applications that were submitted by then and documents by February 1st will have the same chance, because they will all be reviewed and go through the selection process in April. So that's the difference between those two. So information about university admissions and country-specific information and things like that can be found on their website, and they have lots and lots and lots of information. But this webinar is going to focus on how to make a local application. And we're going to have a little look at what it looks like. So if we go to this website, see where we are. So the admissions website had all the information about, like I said, frequently asked questions, and how to apply to our programs. Just going to show you. So on this website, you have different sub pages. So basically, the website for admissions is where you start, and then you work your way down into the structure through these pages. So an important page can be the language requirements, where you can see the tests that we accept. So English tests, we accept that it's the same ones, whether it's the local application or the university admissions ones. We don't have anything different here at the local application. So if you are taking an English test, check on this website what tests are okay, what score you need to get. And then there are certain exemptions. For instance, some countries you get English from high school, or you have studied at certain universities. or in certain countries, in English, and things like that. So the website for language requirements is a very good place to start. Information about who needs to pay tuition fees and application fees are found here as well, and what the exceptions are. Information about how to apply for residence permit once you've actually been admitted. Those students who are required to pay tuition fees can apply for scholarship. Jönköping University has a scholarship that is a partial tuition fee waiver. So basically, we deduct the scholarship from the tuition fee. But to be eligible, you have to apply. You have to have Jönköping as your first choice, whether it's if you're applying through university admissions, you have to have us as your first choice to be eligible for that scholarship. Master's programs, you can apply for the Swedish Institute scholarship, but to be eligible, you have to have applied through university admissions, not the local one. So if you're interested in the Swedish Institute scholarship, you should not apply locally. You should apply through university admissions. We also have the information about other scholarships or things, but that is just information to the best of our knowledge. Since we don't own those scholarships, we can't really answer questions about that. And again, it's just for students who are required to pay tuition fees. So EU citizens cannot apply for scholarships. And what else? Okay, so under each of these how to apply pages, we have the guide, the step-by-step guide. So again, step 1, step 2. So if you follow this, you should get through the what you need to upload, what you need to submit. So read through this before you click on this button. So before you click to apply, go through all these steps to make sure that you don't forget something. So here again, we remind you about the English requirements, the dates, uploading documents, and here we have, I was talking about specific country requirements. So for applicants for bachelors, we have a whole page where there are exceptions to the fact that normally you can just upload your documents. There are some exceptions and they are listed here. When it comes to masters, we also have a few exceptions to the uploading. And again, that information is listed here. So it tells you if you have bachelor degrees from these countries, you have to submit them in a different way, not just, I mean, you can still upload, but for your documents to be verified, they have to be submitted directly to us as well. So again, check the specific country requirements that are in effect for your country. It also tells you the processing of the application. We communicate through email, and we tell you what's missing and what we need from you. And if you're lucky to be offered an admission, we send an email, and you have to reply within a week to be actually admitted and receive a letter of acceptance. So all of that information can be found on the application guides, the how to apply guides. So once you've checked this and you know what you want to apply for, that's when you click on the Apply Here button, which takes you to the actual application form. So this is where you choose one or two programs that you're interested in. First choice means what you want to study more than the other choice. So again, this is the priority here is important. Your personal details, that is, your first name, your family name, and your own email address. Now, this email address it's very important that you get it right, because once you've submitted your application, a confirmation will be sent to this email address. So always double check that you don't miss a letter, or you write M instead of N or something like that. So double check to make sure that your email address is correct. Phone number and address, we don't really use that much, but I think you still need to fill that out. What is required is country and nationality. Now, country is basically where you're living. So that goes with your address. And this is where you're living permanently. If you're visiting someone in another country for just a couple of months, you still put where you are living, your country of residence. And then your nationality, that's what's written in your passport. Sometimes where you live is not the same as your nationality. You can live in Bulgaria and be from Romania, nationality Romanian. So keep this: country is where you're living, nationality is what's in your passport. The next one here, civic number, that is only if you have ever lived in Sweden before. So you have a Swedish personal number, or you have studied before, either another a bachelor degree or been an exchange student in Sweden. You would have gotten a temporary ID number at that point, and that is what you should put here. If you're unsure, just leave it blank, and then if you have what you think is a temporary Swedish number, put it in your documents instead, and we'll help you. So the important one is your date of birth. Now, what's important here is that we have the month followed by the date. So this is 1986, June 8. So make sure that you get this right. You can also use this calendar to make sure that you don't switch it around. If you're born June 8, you should write it 0608, and because if you put it 0806, we think that you're born August 6. So maybe that's not good. gender needs to be submitted. Now, if you have applied at university admissions, perhaps last year or the year before or 4 years ago, whenever, put your application number there. And also, if you applied to other universities for the autumn 2022 session at university admissions, put your application ID there. We need to be able to identify you. And this part here, for recruitment consultants only. This means that it's for people who work with helping others apply to universities as a job. This is not you who want to study, not your uncle or cousin or whatever. There are agencies out there, and that is where you put their name and email address. If Justin wants to say a bit more about what recruitment consultants do.
These are different kind of agencies in different countries who basically help students to provide services to, letting them know how to make an application, and because they're trained by universities, so they exactly know how to make these processes, basically. I mean, whatever webinar we are giving today, they are also kind of expert in providing this kind of help if students go to them. So it's entirely up to students if they would want to use those kind of network for the help. And they can always email us and ask about their respective country if we have someone who officially works with us. So we would be happy to give that information out.
Yeah, because not all agents are tied to us. So no. It's good to check that.
Yeah.
So again, this should only be filled out if you have used an agency to help you. The next part is the proficiency test part. This is where you put how you get your English. If you have a test, high school grades, or if it's through university studies, you should tick this one box for other. So that's if you get it through university studies. For masters, if you apply to business programs, you might have a GRE or GMAT test. If you have that, you tick the box there for it, and then you upload. And again, there's a link to the language requirements, just to remind you to double check what you need to have. The next fun part is the attachments, your documents. We only accept file format, a PDF, so no Word documents or picture documents. You have to call your document something, only 50 characters in length. Keep it short and simple, basically. And file size should be no more than 10 megabits per file. So to choose, you click on Browse, and then you pick the document you want to upload. For instance, your passport. But I guess you want to submit more documents, right? So you click on the plus button and you upload more. And again, try to name your documents something that gives us an idea of what it is. Passport, letter motivation, high school grades, bachelor degree, something like this. If you do this to dot, we're not going to see the full name. We're just going to see 2 dot, and we have no idea what you're talking about. So try to avoid any dots in the name of the file. So keep it short and simple and just perhaps a plus sign or something. That's it. Once you've chosen the documents you want to upload, you go on. You can, once you've submitted the application, you can go back and upload more, because that is the one thing that you will be able to do after you've submitted it. Changing the spelling of your name or your date of birth, that we have to help you with. So then you have to reply to the confirmation email and say, I made a mistake, can you help me? And then we'll check it. So the next step is about the application fee. So if you're an EU citizen or from the European Economic Area or Switzerland, you click this box here. You're not required to pay the application fee. So if you've done that and then click on next, that is going to submit the application. There's no next step. It's going to submit it and that's it. And then you just wait for the confirmation. If you are required to pay the fee, you have a Visa card, a MasterCard, or a Maestro card, you leave both of these blank and you click next, and that takes you to the payment system where you pay with a card. Now, if you have already paid the fee through university admissions for the autumn 2022 intake, you can click this box here and you need to upload proof of that payment. We'll get to that a little bit more later. Or if you want to pay, but not with a card, there is a possibility to pay with a bank transfer. So then you also need to check this, that you are going to prepay, and then you click next to submit the application. And what happens then is we will look at your application and we will tell you how to submit your payment, and we help you that way. So that's pretty much how you submit an application. So yeah, if you were to pay an application fee, you would get to this website and you would just follow the instructions there. So again, remember, you should apply to Jönköping University either through our direct application or through the portal at university admissions. You shouldn't apply for the same program in both systems, but if you want to apply to an additional program at JU, you could submit a new application. But again, remember that there are different admissions times. So the running admission could end up getting you admitted faster to something that you may not be as interested in as what you have put in university admissions. So try to use either or. But no matter which system you use, pay attention to the deadlines for the documents in that system that you use. And don't wait to upload the documents. And check the specific requirements for your country. That is very important. So say that you have applied at university admissions for other universities, and you're going to apply to JU through our local application because you've applied to 4 different master programs at university admissions and you want to apply to JU as well. Well, then you have paid the application fee at university admissions. Then you submit all the documents to us as well. because they are two separate systems. So you have to submit all your documents to us, and including proof of payment of the fee to university admissions. And that information can be found in our FAQ section, as well as we will tell you, remind you of that, of the how you do that. My computer is getting confused. So in our FAQ section, how can I send proof of payment? And this is a step-by-step information about how to do it, what it should look like. So that's what you should follow to get it correctly. Because if you don't submit that correctly, we're not gonna be able to confirm payment of the application fee. Now, I've been talking about the fact that you should check your English. If you're doing a test, you should check what kind of test and the required results. Now, if you have a test and you see that, oh, I don't meet the English requirement because my test results are not sufficient, we do offer so-called pathway programs. We have the own website. The application for the pathway summer that starts in July, and the pathway program starting in autumn 2022, they will all open on December 2nd. And you can apply for a pathway program in combination with a bachelor or master program at JU. That way you get pre-assessed for the bachelor or master program. And if you successfully complete the pathway program, you're guaranteed admission, as long as that follow-up program hasn't been canceled or significantly changed. So it's basically a conditional admission. I'm not going to talk more about the pathway programs here because we are going to have a webinar on December 8th to really dig deep into what the pathway programs are. So if you're interested in that, just check the website and join us on December 8th instead, because we're now just talking about the application for bachelor and master programs right now. So yeah, that was what I wanted to share with you.
Great. Thanks, Charlotte. And I have been looking at, and I think I have received, we have received quite a bit number of Q&As, and I see that people have written in chat function as well. People who have written in chat function, kindly write your questions in the Q&A function. That is where we are going to reply and read all of the questions. Thank you very much. So let's begin by the top questions from the beginning. So someone is asking, I have outstanding IGCSEs for all IALs. I have only a D and an E. 2 subjects. Can I still be eligible for a placement at JU?
Okay, this is question about the British system, IGCSE and the IGCE. So basically, O levels and A levels is what we used to call them all. to be eligible with the British system, you have to have the completed IGCSE and advanced levels. So you have to have completed them all with the final documents, the final certificate. So when it comes to the British system, we can unfortunately not offer conditional admission. So you have to wait until you have all your documents before you can apply. But there you do need to have at least 5 different subjects in your O levels and A levels, 2 of which should be on A level. And for O levels or IGCSE, you have to have a grade of C or better. For A levels, you can have a D and an E, but basically that's for eligibility. Then we look at your grades for the selection process, and there, depending on what you're applying for, you might not have enough grades, because basically in the British system, we are going to look at every single grade that we accept. So if you have 10 subjects, we're going to look at all 10. So we don't count the way the British system does, because we translate it to our way of looking at documents and grades.
I think another anonymous person is asking about, I've applied 3 weeks ago. I haven't heard anything yet from the university. When should I expect to hear from the admissions team?
Well, we're working.
The approximate.
We are working as
4 to 6 weeks.
As we can, but 3 weeks ago, yeah, you might get something soon when we start looking at it. Just to make sure that if you never received a confirmation email, then you didn't. Then there's something wrong, basically. If you didn't get, because the confirmation email is automatic. So that is why I said you have to be very careful and check your email address 2, 3, 4 times before you submit your application, because if there's something wrong there, we're not going to be able to send you anything. So if you have received the confirmation, we will get to your application soon. If you haven't received that, you need to contact us, because then there's something wrong with your email address.
Okay. And then Luciana is asking, what is the difference in the selection process of the direct application and the university portal application? I think we have explained quite a bit around that. So I hope, Luciana, you must.
Basically, in the direct application, the selection process is can be a little bit quicker, or also we have the interviews in the direct application, which we don't have in the through university portal application, because that's part of the selection. Grades in the selection process, it's almost the same. It's just that at university admissions, every single eligible applicant is put through the computer, and the computer has a set number of places that we are going to admit to, and they pick the best grades, the ones with the best grades automatically, whereas the running admission, we do it on a case-by-case basis, and that's why basically places could fill up, and then even though you have really, really good grades, if the places, if we don't have any more places for that program, we still can't offer admission. So that is the most differences, most differences between the systems.
And I would also like to add, Luciana, kindly, I think the best thing would be to make an application directly to us. I think that's much faster, and you have perhaps better control on your application in some ways. So, yeah, I think we have.
Well, we have one that anonymous. Is the pathway admission similar to foundation? No. Our pathway programs have the same entry requirements as for bachelor studies. So you have to have completed your high school. You can't do it instead of. A foundation program can give you eligibility if you don't have completed your high school. Our pathway programs cannot.
Mm-hmm. And Andrew is asking, my question is, if I apply through the local application directly to the university, will I be eligible for an SI scholarship? No, you will not be. And we answered that question during the presentation. And you can always, because we are going to put a copy of this feed onto our JU YouTube channel and also on our web portal, ju.sc. So you'll also have the answer there. I mean, you can always watch this video once again. Since I'm an EU student, I have understand that I don't need to pay an admission fee, and I also don't need to send you passport, only my ID, right?
For EU citizen, it has to be the ID that shows your nationality. Mm-hmm. So if your ID shows your nationality, you can submit that. And that is to make sure that you prove that you don't have to pay the application fee. So yeah, you have to send some sort of identification where your nationality is clearly stated.
Which way to apply for university would you recommend? I will apply for Swedish Institute Scholarship as well. Then you should apply through university admissions.
Yep.
Christiana is asking, what means that my scholastic merits are not sufficient? Is it my diploma grades or the English test not sufficient? So,
okay. I guess you have received already a notification, perhaps today, that your scholastic merits were not sufficient. That means that has nothing to do with your English proficiency. In that case, we would say that scholastic merits means your grades. So if your grades are not high enough, then that means that you don't have the scholastic merits. It's the way because we say the same thing whether you're applying for bachelor or master. So that's why it's the merits, the grades.
And she must have made
part of the selection process.
She must have made a direct application, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I'm not sure if I understand it right. The local application at JU is a running one. So that means that there will be no specific date of getting an answer to application, but it will come not before the April 13th, or can it come before April 30th? So anytime. Yeah, it comes anytime. It's a rolling admission, so which means we have a longer window of possibility for you to make an application. So you are not bounded by the timeline, which is a bounding limit in the university admissions portal.
Yeah.
I'm from.
So yeah, the running admission is that if everything is done, we have already started to offer admission to people who have applied locally. So it can happen at any time, but the application has to be completely processed.
Okay.
So yeah, for students who don't have to go through the interview process, that means that you just you can get an offer of admission now.
Mm-hmm. I'm from a bachelor's in communications and I would like to apply to a master's in marketing. Is it possible? Or do I need a career in business administration? If not, can I present the GMAT results instead? It's too hard to give an answer, and usually the background has to be in business administration if you're applying for masters in marketing. But we could always look into your transcripts.
But our masters in marketing, we have one, international marketing. The requirement is that you have the equivalence of 90 ECTS credits within business administration, at least 60 in business administration, and another 30 from business administration or economics. So basically 50% of your bachelor must have been in the area of business administration and or economics. And usually if you have a bachelor in communication, it's quite difficult to amass that much studies. Mm-hmm. And it also depends on where you're from. So it's because we are following the European Bologna system, which means that 180 credits is the bachelor studies, and half of that has to be within the area that that you get your degree in. And masters are, at least at Jönköping University, you have to have studied that subject enough. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and GMAT cannot replace that requirement. GMAT is more of a help in the selection process. So it doesn't help with the requirements.
Mm-hmm. So Arash is asking, just to get some clarification on this. So if I select the prepayment option in the application page, there will also be an option where I can make the payment via bank transfers, since I cannot make the payment myself and a relative in Sweden is going to do that for me.
Okay, well, either you click the prepayment option and your relative pays through a bank transfer, or you give your relative the necessary information so that they submit the application for you and make the payment, but you get the confirmation email to your email. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because usually the bank transfers are for international bank transfers, and if your relative is in Sweden, it's going to be the information that we send out is going to be is not going to be correct for him or her. Yeah.
Okay. So Anju is asking that he's from India, and does he need to submit IELTS score or his bachelor certificate enough? Well, I think if you're, it depends if you have, if you're applying for engineering or any science-based education, then you might not need it because you might have your bachelor's already in engineering. Or it also depends on your university. If you have a university which is listed in WED with the English as the only medium of instruction, then I think you can come without the IELTS. So it's very hard for us to say without really knowing which university you are coming from. Perhaps you can send us an email asking about your university and we can help you with the answer. So Hamid is asking, shall we post copy of original document after or during application process? If yes, does all documents should be embassy certified?
Okay.
I think he's
I'm not sure how.
Yeah, I think he's confused between if he needs to upload the original documents or the copies of the documents, or.
Yeah, it depends on where where you're from. So basically, in some countries, the embassy have to be involved. But basically, what we're asking for is scanned copies of the original document. Nothing done to the document. If you're from a country where you have to submit it directly, the school might have to submit it directly. Or if it's Pakistan, it has to be the higher education committee that verifies a copy and seals it in an envelope that you cannot open, and you send that to us. So it completely depends on the country where you're from. But if you don't have to submit by post, it should be the scan of the original document. No embassy copies or something like that is needed. We don't require that.
What about if they have the original documents in other languages? Then they have to.
Yeah. If your documents are issued, that is written on our website as well, because it's a little bit different whether you're applying for a bachelor or master's, because high school documents have one sort of set of requirements, and academic documents another. But basically, if your document is not in English, you should check. So if you're asking about your bachelor documents, they have to be in English, or the transcripts have to be translated into English. If your diploma is issued in French, German, or Spanish, you don't have to translate the diploma, but you do have to translate the transcript. Mm-hmm. If you have high school documents that are not issued in English, French, German, Spanish, Finnish, Norwegian, or Danish, you have to translate it.
And in that case, do they have to submit the original as well, and also the copy of the translated version?
It depends on how the translator makes the translation. Mm-hmm. So to be on the safe side, you can scan the entire translation package and the original document as well, just to be on the safe side. It's better to give us a little bit too much than too little.
Any tips on writing a letter of motivation? What sort of things in admissions are looking for? It's a good question, and we are going to be working on producing a small, interesting video around that topic. So you'll have more information on our web in perhaps a month's time or something. But letter of motivation is basically motivating us that why we need to give you offer for admission at the relevant schools.
Basically, you tell us in your own words why you want to study here with us, and keep it between 800 and 1,000 words, not more than 1,000 words. And basically tell us about yourself, why this is something that you want to study, what you intend to do with the education that you get, the motivation that you have to study at Jönköping University, basically.
So someone has made a comment. I received the confirmation email on the spot. So so congratulations.
Yeah, you did everything correct then.
Okay, Clemens, I think Clemens was also attending my webinar the other day, if I'm not wrong. But anyhow, maybe it's another Clemens. But if I receive proof of my bachelor's degree after starting the program, is it okay? I won't have my paper of bachelor's diploma before December 2022.
Okay. If you're currently completing your bachelor's degree, there's a possibility to be conditionally admitted. That means that you have a chance to start your studies and show your bachelor's diploma after you've started. Basically, you can get until like January, February 2023 to show, depending on what you're applying for. But basically, you can start a master's degree, but you can't start your master thesis until you have shown your bachelor diploma. So.
Okay. Christiana is asking, can I do a second application but for a different program, because JU sent me an email saying that my Scholastic merits were not sufficient at this moment. Also, does this mean that I'm rejected for this year's intake, or there might be a chance to be admitted later?
Send a reply to that email that said that your Scholastic merits were not sufficient. And just ask, because it will depend on if it's a bachelor program you have applied for or a master program. So ask us through a reply to that email and ask, and then we'll see what we can tell you. It's not something that we can say given general answer to.
Of course.
Very specific.
Is it possible to apply for the local application into Sweden portal at the same time?
If you're talking about, again, like I said, if you're planning to apply to JU only, you should apply through our local application unless you're interested in an SI scholarship for masters. If you want to apply to several universities in Sweden, you can apply to Jönköping as well as the other universities at the portal University Admissions, or you can apply to the other universities at the portal, through the portal, and to JU through the local application. Try not to apply to JU in both. Just it will confuse yourself and us as well, because we have had applicants who thought that they were admitted through their university admissions application, but they weren't.
What about the application fee? If they apply for, let's say they have chosen 4 different universities there, and then they also make a local application to us.
Yeah.
Do they
you have to have
enough?
Paid at university admissions first.
Okay. And then they don't have to pay to us.
Yeah, because if you apply to us and pay to us, and then you apply at university admissions, they are not going to accept the payment you made to us. Mm-hmm. It's a one-way acceptance. So if you're applying to university admissions, pay the application fee there.
And then it's good for you, because then you don't have to pay to apply or make an application at Jönköping University.
Yeah.
If my grades are not sufficient for this intake, can I apply the next year? And is there a chance to be admitted, or I have to find a way to make the grades higher? Again, it's a very tough, can't answer without it.
This is part of the selection process. It has nothing to do with your eligibility. If your grades are not high enough, that's where the selection takes place. At university admissions, it's everyone is put in the same bag. Every EU applicant and every tuition fee paying applicant are put in the bag, and then the computer places the ones with the highest grades at the top, and then if we have 10 spots for this program, they pick the first 10 there. Mm-hmm. The local application, basically, we have already checked what above which grade merit rating you need to be, so that it's not too much of a difference between the two systems. So basically, if your grades are not sufficient for this intake, it's a very strong chance that they won't be for the next one either.
So Arash is asking, I have a second question, this one regarding the applicant's age requirements. So I can tell you, Arash, it doesn't really matter how old you are, as long as you're willing to learn and come for study intentions, it should not be a problem. And we
have students who are 55 when they start a bachelor, so yeah. So that's not an issue.
Yeah, and I think we might have which way to apply for. I think this might be a new question. Which way to apply for university would you recommend I will apply for Swedish? Oh, I think we might have already answered this, right? Michelle. If you need to apply for Swedish Institute Scholarship, then you need to apply through university admissions. Yeah, I think we are kind of done here.
Yeah.
Great.
So just to repeat again, if you're applying for a master's program and you want to apply for the Swedish Institute Scholarship, you must apply through the Central University Admissions portal. You cannot get a Swedish Institute if you apply through the local application.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. And thank you all students for attending this. And please keep looking into our other webinars which are coming up. There might be some interesting topics which we might be covering in coming times. So please stay tuned in, and also log into our website or our JU YouTube channel to look into this video later on. Thank you very much, and all the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.